before I die. So obviously, if it happens, then logically, you know that there is a setup. Whilst in the car, arrested in the car, two of us, the vehicles I was going, I was just listening to hear a shot because I expect that there must be a fight because they will not let me go. But that how the vehicle went up to the gate, I was still expecting a fight from my troops. And the vehicle just exited the gate and turned towards the fire service, and then they keep on driving us in the night. And then they cover our faces. So we drove for a while. Then eventually we came to a place, and then I hear the sound of opening a door, like a big door opening. And in my mind, I was not seeing, but I was calculating whether it's east, west, or they are going finally. I knew that we are somewhere in Banjul, and that was at the our monies. They had already taken out cell phones, and then after that, they handcuff us and then lock us in different cells. From that moment, I didn't see Captain Barodi again. I was handcuffed and I was locked up in a cell, an underground cell. Actually, I don't know. I know that there are cells they call Bambadinka, but definitely I didn't know the name, because I have not been apart from that hour. Of course, it's only the area that you are taking that you can know.
I think we're running a bit out of time. You said they took you to the NIA and you were in an underground cell. Can you tell us what happened after that? Did you stay there?
I was there, I think, until around 3 a.m. in the night. Again, I had the vehicle enter. Then suddenly I had my cell is a steel door, this carbonated steel door. So I had, there are padlocks and then correct, they are opening. So when they opened, I was handcuffed. This time they removed until I know they passed the Denton Bridge. Cough. Then eventually again, I had another door open again. This later I knew because it was a special detention center behind the Joshua prison. Behind the Joshua prison, it was a ring rod. They concrete it on the wall. When they are handcuffing you, they put the handcuff in your hand, put the handcuff and handcuff you there in that ring handle. So around that 3 a.m. they took me there. So they put me in the cell, then they removed the hood and then they handcuffed me like the way you tied your cow in the stubborn cow at the cattle. So I was there. Suddenly I also hear somebody coughing. But there are a lot of those. It is divided into different cells. So not knowing that there were some other colleagues of mine who were also locked in different cells there, namely Lieutenant Colonel C.D. Juve. He is in Yundum now, and Major Yusfa Jammeh also. These are people, we were all instructors at the school together. We work at the school together as instructors for so many years. So Major Yusfa Jammeh was also locked in the other cell. CD was also locked in the other cell. But I never know. I just heard someone coughing. I was wondering who would be these guys. So the day I was arrested, then I didn't eat dinner. I didn't drink. The following day I didn't eat. I think the next day in the morning. And then they brought some loose bread and butter. You know, I was suspicious. That is our way. That is our upbringing. You know, you should always be suspicious. You know, that's the way my tribe. That's how we think. We should always be suspicious. So when they removed my handcuff and then they gave me the bread, I was checking inside because we have heard about so many stories. You know, I was thinking probably has the bread been poisoned to eat it and die? Probably. So I opened it. It's not a new bread, it's an old bread. So I open and check inside. Then I recited Fatiha and I also recited Yasin. Then, you know, and my mouth was completely dry. When I cut the bread with my teeth, for 15 minutes I was chewing the bread because there was no water in my mouth. You know, I couldn't homogenize the bread in my mouth. And eventually I decided to swallow it. And when I swallowed it, my stomach was almost tearing. My stomach was like, you know, you are punching my stomach inside with knives, sweating. You know, and eating the bread, it was like I'm eating the raw sun. You know, so that's where we stayed until I think on the 19th evening or 20. At night, a director of NIA Yanku Babaji came there and they opened the cell. When they opened the cell, he saw me. So he called me, said, Maube. Then I started crying because I knew him because when the security chiefs visited the camp 2 times on the sideline, I said to him, I said, I am the one who is doing the ballistic examination for the arms and security service. He said, oh, you are Captain Ba? I said, yes. I said, but sir, I have so many problems. Because, you know, weapon, you cannot give it to somebody who doesn't know it to carry it, or if it is explosive or grenade. I said, I need to have a vehicle to be able to do my job. You know, arms and ammunition are control items. You don't just give it to anyone to carry it. I said, I have that problem in, you know, getting a vehicle to be able to move to transport this thing. He promised me personally that he was going to give me a car from the NIA. Personally, he said, come, I will give you a car. So when he saw me, you know, then I was crying, and then he came and held me. He said, look, don't cry, you know, Fulan, Jola, you know, we are Kal. You know, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't control don't worry, we have done our findings. I don't know, because we are already locked, we don't know the news outside. On the whole, all those negotiations have taken place until, you know, this guy was about going. He said, no, you know, we have investigated, you know, take you to the NIA headquarters. So we spent that night, that day. The following day, converge the NIA headquarters. When they converge us there, I saw so many other of my colleagues. I was thinking that it was only me and Captain Barodi. On the whole, there were so many other of our colleagues, I think around 14 of us, who were also arrested. So we took our things. So then we live in different directions. They ask us, where do you live? You know, so people live in different places. I said to them, I live in Latrikunda. In actual fact, I don't live in Latrikunda. But not knowing the situation that time, I didn't want anyone who was supposed to drop me with a car to know my home. So when they brought me with a car up to Latrikunda, I said, you can drop me here. My home is just very close. Let's take you home. I said, no, it's just stone throw, you know. So just drop me here. So they dropped me there. Actually, I live in Sukuta. Then I took a taxi there, and I went to my home.
I just have a couple of quick questions for you. You mentioned that you were released on the 19th or 20th. Do you remember of which month and which year?
It was January. I think January 20. January 20.
Of which year?
2017.
And do you recall how long you spent at the detention center?
We spent a week or a little more than a week, roughly a week or a little more than a week.
And when you came out, do you recall where the president, Yahya Jammeh, was at the time?
Eventually, when I came out, because I didn't know the situation, so I just went to my home, but I didn't spend the night at my home. I went to Yuna. One of my brother lives in Yuna, Abdullahi, and then we were told that Yahya Jammeh left the night before, the last night.
You said that you weren't informed of why you were arrested or what you were being investigated for, but what do you believe is the reason why you were arrested?
Until today, nobody in the entire armed forces ever told me, or from the NIA ever told me why I was arrested. However, when I was arrested, this my brother Osman, he went to the Foroya and published the story about my arrest. When they released me, I said, Osman, let's go to the Foroya so that I can thank them. Because it was not any newspaper that was bold enough to publish about this type of things. But I want to go to Foroya and thank them. So when the former CDS Osman Baji saw that story, he called me and then he asked me, Captain Ba, who asked you to go to Foroya and this, that. I insulted him. I insulted his mother. I said, if you are a man, come face to face and ask me. I said I was arrested, with all what happened to me. You are the chief of defense staff. You didn't even call me, even if you don't know what happened, why I was arrested. You didn't even call to console me, to ask me sorry for what has happened, this, that. You are calling me and asking me foolish questions. I said, if you are a man, come and ask me why I went to the Foroya to go and publish about my issue there. And until today, he never asked me. Never asked me. When I saw we greet, we talk casually, finish. Until he was finally retired from the armed forces.
Did you at any point carry out the instructions or start carrying out the instructions he gave you in relation to the explosives?
I have never intended. I was looking at him as a foolish man, and I was calculating that, look, I am a citizen of this country. These nice people of the Gambia, everybody is saying that. If I had attempted to do this, I'm calculating, don't you think God will confuse me and I will make mistake, and prematurely I myself may explode there with the other guys, and that would be the end of the story. And I said, I will never do that. Even if they have given me, counted $1 billion and give me, I would have never done that. I am a professional man. I consider myself as a professional, and I will not use the knowledge and skill I have for any bad reason whatsoever. If it is in the defense of the country, I will do it. But if it is just out of what, I can't do that, because in the military, we are to obey orders and follow instructions, but the instructions and the orders have to be legal. They have to be legal instructions. They have to be legal orders. And if they are legal, that is part of discipline. You are expected to follow the command.
The last question from me, Captain Ba, is considering the experience that you've narrated here, first of all, as someone who has committed some human rights violations, and as someone who has suffered human rights violation, can you just tell us lastly what impact this entire experience has had on you?
Whatever you live through, it builds you either positively or negatively. Over these years, what has happened has built me, and I feel it has built me positively. I have gained experience. I have matured better with the trainings I had, the professional training, the academic training. You know, so many things have happened, and I am still here. I want to thank God for that. I have committed some mistakes, and I have also been a victim. I think these are lessons that will be indelible in me till the end of my life. The TRRC, I'm not saying anything to ingratiate you. I think this is a good job. And I think anybody also who has done something wrong should be bold enough to come and tell the truth. Inshallah, there are a lot of things that are going. We have the security sector reform. Inshallah, I hope it will be done in a very good way, in a correct way, and the soldiers will be trained because for the past 22 years, the soldiers have not been training. They have been radicalized. They were not training. Believe me, those weapons that we had in the army, less than 15% were able to operate them. And around that time, you know, when you don't know the secret of things, you don't know it. Even an organized rebel group could have just come and then defeated us. Because the materials we were having, we don't know it, we don't know them. Our fighting elements don't know how to use them. So the army was highly politicized. And I think the armed forces and the entire security services of the Gambia should be disconnected with politics. They should concentrate on their jobs. They should be professionalized. And we should see ourselves as the military. We are the first assets of the country, accept it or not. Our primary function is to defend the territorial integrity of the country, to protect the citizens and the properties of the Gambia, and to protect everyone who is residents in the Gambia. This is the responsibility of the army. We are the institution on whose foundation development is built upon. And if your foundation is not good, then you don't expect a good structure. So this is what I want to say. I have said so many things. When you talk, there is tendency to make mistake. If I say anything good and anything truthful, it's God who inspired me to say that. If there is any mistake, it is my own human shortcomings. So I want to beg for forgiveness if I had made mistake.
I thank you for your time, Captain Ba. Mr. Chairman, that's the end of the testimony. Unless the commissioners have any further questions, that is it for this witness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma Council, and thank you, Captain Ba, for your testimony. I hope the confessions that you made about torturing OJ would help promote healing and reconciliation, not just between you and OJ, but perhaps the country and the process that we are embarked on. I have a short question to ask you on that. What kind of instructions do the soldiers, the Gambia Armed Forces get regarding respecting international or humanitarian law? Do you provide these instructions in either SOPs or in guidelines that they are given, or what? There must be, I would assume, a way of telling soldiers how they should respect humanitarian law, including the prohibition of torture.
I'm not aware of any SOP. If there is any also, I'm not aware. But usually our peacekeeping troops, before they are deployed to Darfur or wherever, usually they do a lot of trainings, including training on international humanitarian law. And at the Armed Forces Training School also, there is also an element on that, on the law of war, who to engage in case there is a battle, how to treat the enemy when you capture the enemy. And I remember this famous British SOP, where one time I was involved in PSO training, peace support operation training. And those instructors, the British Army instructors from Gibraltar, in our practicals, they said that when the enemy attacks you and fire at you, he misses you, and he's running away, he's retreating. Even though you are armed, you are not expected to fire him because already he is retreating. And I think Islam also is the same thing. In Islam is also the same thing. All those good laws are normally in line with Islam. So where somebody has engaged you and he is retreating, you are not supposed to fire him. Even if you arrest him, then what should you do to him? You should treat him according to the rules of the Geneva Convention. Ask his name, ask his rank as an officer, and comfort him. So I think there should be more of that training. The officers already they know, but probably we need to filter these things to the troops as well. Because the bulk of the army, the bulk of the fighting force of the army also are the troops. So unless the troops are good, then we officers are not good. I always tell my officers at the Fajara Barracks, I said, if we sit here, we feel that we are professional, we are good, and our troops are not good, it means then we are not good. Because if we are good, then we should make our troops also to be professional and to be good. So I'm so the new CDS, General Kinte, he have a great vision for the army. He have a great vision to professionalize the army. I have worked with him closely from the training school years back. And even before he was removed the last time, he have got good plans for the army, to professionalize the army. What I will urge myself and urge my fellow officers is to give him 100% helping hands. He is very professional. He's a visionary leader. He is good. If he is given the opportunity, definitely he will transform the armed forces.
Thank you for that answer. I do hope that instructions are given at the time of a training. You said you're an instructor at you were at the training school, that young soldiers, people joining the armed forces, are trained to respect these laws. Even in established armies or military establishments, these are things that are updated, they are taken care of, they are given as instructions. In the late I think it was early 90s, I spent a month or two lecturing at Sandhurst, and we were working exactly on these rules of war, rules that need to be updated from time to time. If Sandhurst is doing that, I can't imagine that in a situation like this with an instruction.
Considering the influence of the man, if I call him, probably I said I need 5 kilograms of C4 or TNT. You know, really. It was not, the explosives were not available with me. Okay, I have did my mathematical calculation, and I just need 5 kilograms of C4 is composition for TNT is to do harm. Because already this is why I didn't call him, and I also national humanitarian law and the law of armed conflict and law of war.
Thank you very much. Any commissioners have any commissioner?
Wanted to revenge. Did he tell you what revenge? That's about the existence of other illegal detention centers.
Right.
Yes, he told you that the course.
No, I assume that he is making the allegations against the coalition, because they were the only people who were legally contesting what they own that time. So when he make the inference that these people in Gambia, and they were only the only body that was